The bluefish on his orange support, I feel, is part of a reef. The fish floating, diving along, going horizontal over the peaks of the corals and things like that, or in between things. I think it is in itself a moving dream.
Diving into the ocean of life is actually all about a celebration of life. And part of the inspiration with that is actually to make or to inspire people to feel, particularly as years go by, that there is still plenty of life to be lived. I really wanted to exaggerate the feeling that she's actually going to go and jump into life itself.
Strung Together is a stylized stainless steel sculpture I created in order to portray the harsh environment that a family of emperor penguins have to endure in order to survive and to thrive in the Antarctic. COVID-19 has thrown many challenges to the whole of the world, so we in the same way have had to work together and help each other in order to get through it.
Busy life, which is quite an interesting one, quite unusual and quite humorous. Inspiration behind this was a working mother, so she felt like her life was a balancing act between home and work, and that's why the fish is balancing on one wheel. And she always felt like she was trying to juggle three things at the same time, so hence why the fish is juggling.
I'm a very William Morris school of thought in that I love the beautiful and the useful. So I think that our everyday objects should not just be factory made. They should be something that somebody has made with love, and therefore you will treat it the same and you will use it for long. So from my point of view, these pieces are beautiful, but they are also useful, and the birds love them.
Serene started life as a charcoal drawing, and taking it then from 2 dimensions into 3 dimensions is quite interesting because you can then see through the drawing. So this particular sculpture, it's best positioned really out in the open. Spatial, you're looking right through it. The other way you can do it is put it up against the south-facing wall, and then, of course, it casts shadows. And as the sun moves around, of course, it changes.
My piece, Aristotle's Lantern, depicts the mouthpiece of the sand dollar. There's quite a lot of legend behind them as well, because after the sea urchin dies, they dry up. And when you pick the sea urchin shell up or the sand dollar shell up, it rattles. And if you break it open, what is actually the mouthpiece looks like 5 doves flying out. The legend has it that it spreads peace throughout the world.
This actually was inspired by my friend who's quite a spiritual person. And so the wing part of the sculpture is to represent coming up to your higher plane. And the hole in the middle represents your soul. So the wings are taking your soul to a higher place. It's made of Cairn stone, which is very tactile. So once it's smoothed down, you want to run your hands over it.
This poem is a portion of a poem by Peter Daniels. It's called Shoreditch Orchid. So yeah, I just really like the kind of sentiment of the poem about regrowth of nature through the city and the kind of like way that the natural environment takes back the city in a way. It's like, and it's kind of this juxtaposition between nature and urban and all that kind of thing.
They are sea otters. The male is on his back and the female is on the edge of the bank peering in at him. And I was very fortunate to see them in the Outer Hebrides when the male was in the sea and the female was on the sand at the side. So it was a very, very special moment. and I've never seen otters in the wild since.
This piece was inspired by nature and by my relationship with it. As I made the piece, so a poem appeared, and this is the poem. That moment when we meet the rest of creation, from thunder to the small things, a time to pause, consider what we truly are, lose our breath to beauty, surrender to something more, dance with the butterfly.
I'm inspired by the natural environment first and foremost, and I also strive to make things that are uplifting and pleasing to other people. I'm also very keen on process. I like things well made, and it's a case of if it's going to be pleasing, I feel it ought to be well made. So like anything in life, if it's made well, it'll last a lifetime, or it'll last a very long time.
The apple of Peru is a relative of the Cape gooseberry. It has a big round seed inside. It's built in two sections. So I built the centre part, and then I formed the outer skin as a separate layer of clay, and then joined the ribs together and pierced the slab so that you can see the seed inside.
The whole human figure is a source of endless inspiration. We are always evolving, whether it be physically or emotionally or spiritually. We all evolve all the time. You can always look at a human figure and be surprised. The art of working with human figure is to make it new and a new angle, a new way of looking at the human figure.